Good morning, guys, and welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. As you guys can tell, a little bit of a different setup here for today, but hey, it doesn't matter if we have all the graphics and all the pictures and all this. You guys want the picks. So a little bit of an issue with the WagerTalk station there, the kind of the networking, but we wanted to record a show, myself, Carmine, and Bryan. We have a handful of games. We got best bets and no prop segment, but I'm going to mix in some props during the analysis for some of these games. So Carm, different location, but the same three gentlemen here to break down these games. Looking forward to it. How are you, Carm? We missed you yesterday. And what are the games you decided for us to talk about today?
Yeah, and apologies to everyone for the technical difficulties, but the good news is with the money we save on paying Dan Alexander his seven-figure income, at least for today, we can feed a couple families. So that's the great thing about this. Andrew, we're going to talk Colorado, Carolina, a couple teams that probably one of the best games of the night, I think. Then not one of the best games of the night. We're going to go to Ottawa, the nation's capital here in Canada, and discuss Detroit and Ottawa, some of the goaltending issues. You'll have some prop bets for us. Then we'll finish it off with Seattle, the New York Islanders in New York, and a few hopefully winning show best bets at the end, and then we'll close it out. So with that said, Carolina minus 150, and I'm looking at the WagerTalk live odds, and it is steaming upwards. I'm seeing some 160s, some 165s. Colorado plus 130. Brian, it looks like it's going to be Georgiev and Kochekov as the goalies. Neither one has been confirmed as of yet. Tell me who you like in this one.
Well, I wrote this a couple hours ago, so my numbers may not be accurate, and if they're not, just keep that in mind. Two of the best 5-on-5 expected goal teams in the league. Avalanche 53.14, Hurricanes 56.76. Carolina currently second in the league behind the LA Kings, a team that is not getting a lot of love, but I believe both Andrew and I were on them last night, so it worked out pretty well. The Hurricanes own a combined 30 net goal advantage on the season between these two. Colorado's in the midst of a 5-game road trip, which started on Tuesday, 5-4 win at Buffalo. Carolina's dropped 3 straight, including an embarrassing home loss to Seattle on Tuesday. The same Kraken team who previously lost 2 straight to the San Jose Sharks. Now, I talked earlier about San Jose being a team that we can make some money on. I didn't expect it to happen against Seattle, and I lost one of those games in that regard. But, the Sharks are playing really well. The Hurricanes are in the middle of 9 home games in an 11-contest stretch. The host looks to be more of the desperate team. But as you mentioned, the line has climbed. I had it at 153, and it sounds like it's even higher than that. That's my preferred side, but I think we lost all the value there. So should be a really good hockey game to watch. And because of the line move, I'll be setting it out.
Yeah, it's Brian. I'm looking at the live lines now, and a lot of the games are, at this time in the morning, are sort of lit up like Christmas lights, and it's as low as 144. I'm seeing at the Superbook to as high as 155 right now, both at DraftKings and Bookmaker. So it's hovering in around there. I'm going to guess that a little bit of buyback on Colorado as well too when it hit 160-ish. Andrew, I'm going to make mine easy on this one. You know me, sometimes I just want to get into that first period and out after 20 minutes. And that's what I'm looking at here. I'm going to take the first period over in this one, over 1.5. Carolina, 12 home games, 9-3 to the first period over. And Colorado overall, whether they're allowing them or whether they're scoring them, 26 games this season, 17 of those 26 have gone over the number in the first period, over 1.5. So that's where I'm going here. Over 1.5 minus 145. The VIG is just low enough that it makes it a profitable proposition no matter which one of those 2 streaks you apply to it. What are your thoughts on this one?
Guys, I've always struggled with the NHL at the point being where I can kind of don't ride the wave with hot teams enough. And sometimes I try and step in front of teams that aren't playing well. And I try and kind of jump on and try and figure out when they're going to start playing well again. And that can kind of be an issue sometimes. But when you got to kind of have to be careful is when you're doing that with not so great teams, below average teams. I feel comfortable here jumping in on Carolina in this price range and in this particular situation because of who they are and what they've done on a large scale this season. As Brian's talked about, their numbers have been great. And, you talk about an embarrassing loss, Brian, with Seattle. I'd say the most embarrassing loss was definitely that 6-0 against Florida. That's embarrassing. I mean, 4-2 against Seattle, I get it. Seattle's not a very good team, but I'm shocked to see Carolina lose back-to-back games against Florida. And then their first game, they put up that effort. That was shocking to me. And then I think the other side of the coin to look at here is how impressed should we be about Colorado's comeback over Buffalo? How much should that mean to us? Because you got to think that was awesome. Georgiev gets pulled out of the net. Wedgwood comes in, doesn't allow one goal. Buffalo goes from being up 4-0 to losing the game 5-4. That's crazy. It's unheard of. But I think what people don't realize is that can create momentum. But at the same time, let's not just forget about the fact of how they got in the situation that they were in. And I'm sorry, but coming back after being down 4-0 and winning the game doesn't necessarily mean you're going to forget about all those poor defensive mistakes you made. In fact, I think it also creates a false sense of confidence that, hey, guys, we don't even need to, play good defense. We can score 5 goals. And I look at the schedule for this team right now. They played that comeback against the Sabres, tough game for them against the Oilers, Stars, Golden Knights, Lightning, Panthers. Guys, this team has been playing some of the best as of late. You have to think it might come to an end a little bit here. So whether it's the money line or whether it's the team total or whether you want to get out early and continue going on these fun dates like Carm has, I guess, with these 20-minute bets he's betting, I think it's a good opportunity for goals. And I think it's a good opportunity for the Hurricanes to get the job done tonight. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. And Carm, that price for the first period, I'd tell people to bet that ASAP because it's definitely climbing. But I do agree with you. We're going to see a really, really, pissed off Carolina team, for lack of better words here.
Yeah. And, you look at Carolina and you talked about that 6-0 game and having lost 3 in a row has to be said. Obviously, goaltending injuries for this team. They lose the 4-2 to Seattle. Kochetkov was in goal for that one, but it was Spencer Martin prior to that in those 2 previous losses. And maybe Kochetkov needed a start. He is 9-2 his last 11 or last 12 starts for this Carolina team. The team is 10-2. I think he was pulled in that game against Columbus, the game in which they won. They ultimately won 5-4 in that game. So the team is 10-2. The last 12 times he's been between the pipes, he's 9-2. The last 12 games he's been there. So he should be in goal tonight. And if he is in goal tonight, I think that helps to play on Carolina that much more. Speaking of goaltending issues, the Detroit Red Wings, Brian, are in Ottawa. Cam Talbot, they're saying maybe this weekend he'll play. Alex Lyon is on the IR. Ville Husso called up. Sebastian Kosa, the emergency goalie, should be serving as the backup tonight. Ottawa's minus 180, and even that is still taking money. I'm seeing. I saw some 190s prior to going to air. So Allmark and Husso, neither one confirmed as of yet. Total sits here at 6. Little surprised it's not 6.5. Shaded 20 cents to the over on the 6. How are you playing this one?
This reminds me a little bit of the one we just discussed, where I had interest in Ottawa. When I wrote it up, it was 172. And now it's even gone higher, it seems like it. But I can't play that number. The Red Wings have an expected goal share of 45.03 on the season in 5-on-5 play. The Senators come in at 51.64. Ottawa owns a net 9-goal advantage between the two on the season. Detroit's lost 3 straight, but they've all been by a single goal, with the last 2 being in overtime. They're actually playing a little bit better than what their record is showing yet. The Sens have lost 7 of 9, and they've had the last 3 days off in preparation. So if you are a guy who plays spots, this would seem to be the spot for the Senators. This is the first of 4 straight games at home for the host. But as I mentioned, similar to the game we discussed, this line, even though Ottawa has the higher motivation, I can't play it at this number. As I mentioned, Detroit is, nip and tuck in these games, and they're right there. They're just not getting the victories. Like the Ottawa side, but I'm priced out of this one. I'll be passing.
Well, for me,
you mentioned.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Carm. I was just gonna say that when I look at a game like this, it's tough, Carm, because like Brian's saying, when you've got 2 teams playing like these teams are, you're kind of like, do I want to play the favorite? And that's the thing, is then the price continues to climb higher and higher and higher. Look at where these 2 teams stack up in the Atlantic Division or in the Eastern Conference. Does either team deserve to be a favorite of this size against anybody right now? What do you think, Carm?
No, I don't. And it's why I want to approach this a little differently. Like Brian did mention, a 4-game homestand for Ottawa. I thought they started to rediscover their scoring on the West Coast, looking a little bit better. They have gone after that 5-game losing streak. They have gone 2-1-1, so they're picking up points. And that this 4-game homestand is really one in which they can get some forward momentum going. It starts tonight if they can capitalize on these goaltending issues that Detroit has right now. And get a win. They've got the Islanders, who aren't scoring goals, the Anaheim Ducks coming to town, and they have the Nashville Predators on Saturday. And that's a good scheduling spot for Ottawa as well, too, because that'll be Nashville's 3rd game in 4 nights. Nashville played last night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They play tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. And then they're in Ottawa for their 3rd game in 4 nights. So scheduling-wise, it's good for them. And I get it, they're coming back from the West Coast, but their last game was on the 1st. They've had 3 days off, this Ottawa team. So fatigue, I wouldn't think would be an issue. But I'm not running to the window to play -180, -190. This might not be a plus money. It's a plus money play, but it's not an EV plus kind of play. But given Detroit's goaltending issues right now, Sens -1.5 on the puck line is +145. If I like the Sens to win, I think they're going to win by at least a couple of goals, and maybe we get that empty net helper at the end that gets us there. So that's where I'm going to go here. Sens -1.5 +145. I'm avoiding that minus. It's -190 at a couple books right now on the WagerTalk live lines, Andrew.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit high up there, guys. And I was looking at DraftKings, and of course, I think it's something important for people to know is that depending on which region you live in or which part of the country or which part of North America you're in, DraftKings has different odds for each area, right? So if I say an odd that DraftKings might be different for somebody over here, might be different, FanDuel New Jersey might be different than FanDuel somewhere else. But I find it's interesting here, guys. There's a couple teams that I always say, if I'm going to bet on them or against them even, I'm taking the team totals. And there's a couple teams I have circled. 2 of the biggest teams for that are the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Ottawa Senators for me. And this is what's interesting. I haven't bet that many 60-minute line bets this year, regulation. The Ottawa Senators to win in regulation, guys, the price at the book I'm looking at right now is -110. The price on the Ottawa Senators over 3.5 goals, you guessed it, -110. So if you think about it, the price on the regulation line, meaning they have to win the game within 60 minutes, is the exact same as them to score 4 goals. And you'd hope in this day and age in the NHL, scoring 4 goals should be enough for a team to win. But when I go through some of these Ottawa Senators scores and some of the wins that they've had, at least their win over the Calgary Flames, they had 4 goals. Their win over the Sharks, they scored 4 goals. If we scroll all the way down, they lost against the Flyers back on November 14th, and they scored 4 goals. So to me, when I'm debating this number of regulation versus team total, it's going to be team total all day, every day with this Senators team, because I'm just more concerned about their defense than I am about their goaltending. I mean, guys, look at the whole Allmark thing. That guy's going to go represent his country. And if he ends up being one of the starters, or if he gets a couple games in with the 4 Nations or Olympics, I mean, he's going to be proving again why he is a great goalie. Did he benefit off of Boston Bruins and their great defense? Absolutely, he benefited off that. But look at how many goaltenders have played for the Ottawa Senators over the last few years. And the second they signed with the team, their goals against average dropped. Right? I mean, you could be a great goaltender, but if you're playing on a bad defensive team, it can really hurt you. So as much as, we've seen, like you said, Carm, the West Coast trip, that can impact. But I always say that type of stuff only matters as much if a team is coming off a winning trip. You're coming off a losing trip. You're going to be motivated, have some fire under you, and hopefully want to get going. At the end of the day, it's people always say, we play numbers, not teams. I think if I'm playing this game and it's just money line, I can't lay that number with Ottawa just based on where these teams stack up right now. But I'm going to kind of take a shot here. I think it's a good spot for them to hopefully get to 4 goals. I'll take that -110. Team total over 3.5 for them. And Carm, you're right about that Nashville spot coming up against Ottawa. And I'm looking forward to it not to get too sidetracked, looking forward to the game tonight, Montreal versus Nashville. But man, is there a more underachieving team than the Predators? I'll be curious to see, guys, if on Saturday night, as you mentioned, Carm, if Ottawa can make Nashville finally play a high-scoring game. It seems like no matter who they play, no matter what the situation is, the final score is going to be 3-2. It's amazing. It was another 3-2 game yesterday.
Yeah, speaking of your Montreal Canadiens, they have taken a little bit of money. The opener was Nashville -145 tonight. That's down to 135. So they are getting a little bit of money. Maybe it's people banking on the second of a back-to-back after a tough one in Toronto. We shall see. I'm pretty sure that the Ottawa game on Saturday will make it into my 6 and 60 segment, but you guys will have to wait till Friday to find that out. Speaking of a game, Andrew, that shouldn't have a lot of goals in it, and Brian, the New York Islanders -130 at home against the Seattle Kraken +110. It looks like, okay, Sorokin is confirmed. Looks like it's going to be a Joey Decord in goal for Seattle, but that is unconfirmed at the moment. The total here, 5.5, shaded 20 cents to the under. Bri? Is this a straight out underplay for you, or are you taking the Kraken in a bit of an upset tonight?
Actually, after the 2 games where I got priced out of, I think I find value in this one. This is going to be my best bet on the show today, so I'll save us some time. I know we got a late start because of things beyond our control. But before I get to it, I just wanted to talk about what I have going on today. I've got a college basketball play. I also have a play in the NFL, and I've been on a really nice run in the NFL, 68% going back the last month or so. So those are my 2 plays today, and I have a big 5% play going in college football for tomorrow, and you can grab any of these plays up on the site right now. But as I mentioned, this is my best play on the show today, and it's my best play in hockey. And when I take a look at this one, you take a look at the expected goal numbers. 5-on-5 play. Seattle's at 47.33. Islanders 51.26. A little bit higher than what people would expect. The Kraken do have a net 7-goal advantage in this one, but New York has played 3 more games on the road. So you always have to take that into account. Seattle broke a 3-game losing streak on Tuesday, but pulling that upset at Carolina, I didn't see that one coming. There was a game that Carolina, very similar to today. They're hungry for a win. And I know Seattle was also, but Carolina's a much better team than the Seattle team is. And it's the first of 4 straight road games for the Kraken. And they do play tomorrow at New Jersey. So if they get behind early in this one, it could be a situation where they lose by multiple goals. That's what I'm looking for here. The Islanders are on a 3-9 run, but only 2 of those losses were by more than a single goal. Like Detroit, which I talked about earlier, they've been in every one of these games. They just can't finish it off. I prefer the host in this one. The line I saw before the show is 125. That seems like a very fair number between these two as New York tries to get back in the win column. They're more desperate for the victory, and I think they've been playing overall, despite the record, they've been playing a little bit better hockey. So I like the Islanders in this one. Hopefully the 125 is still out there for people to bet on.
Andrew, I'm going to go total on this one. 11 games at home for the Islanders, 7-4 to the under. It is what plagues this team because I think, between Sorokin and Varlamov, they have a couple good goalies there. I think Sorokin is a lot better goalie, obviously, but they just don't get the offensive support and the goals. So you see these goaltenders with goals against averages under 3 at in that 250, 260 range, and they have losing records. It's because the team isn't scoring goals for them. Seattle is on a very good under run, I think, right now. I think it's something like 6-2-2 their last 10 games. And these two teams did meet in Seattle earlier in the season. That game ended 3-2, I think, for Seattle in that one. I'm going to stick to the under here. I'm going to take the under 5.5. Figure Seattle's going to play the typical road game, their typical road game, defense first, try and strangle and close off that neutral zone. The Isles get the win. I'd be happy with a 3-1 win. Brian gets the win, I get the win, and we figure out what you have next.
Well, I mean, this New York Islanders team, guys, they haven't been playing much hockey lately. They should be pretty rested when I look at their schedule. I mean, it's been quite some time. They've had quite a bit of a layoff here. I think the rest will definitely do them some well. And I think you look at the Kraken. I mean, we talked about that win for the Kraken earlier, Brian. For me, when I look at this spot, I want to look at the team total under for the Kraken, because when I look at a good game for the New York Islanders, to me means a good defensive game. So, you're getting a little bit better of a price. You're not getting too much of a difference. I got -115 on team total under 2.5 goals. I mean, you even see in some losses. I mean, when they played the Montreal Canadiens, they lost 2-1, and they would have hit that bet if you took their opponent under 2.5 goals. So even when this team is losing games, somehow they're still keeping their opponent under 2.5 goals. So you guys always hear me talking about team total overs, team total over 3.5. This is a time where I'm going to look towards the New York Islanders playing typical New York Islanders hockey, and we'll go with the under 2.5 team total for the Kraken. Carmen, looks like I'm having some difficulties myself on my end. I'm going to need a second, so I'm going to go right back to you for your best bet and what you have up.
Yeah, guys, don't forget, there's a great deal going on at WagerTalk. The finish strong the rest of December. Normally, on all sports packages, $2.99 a month. You can get it for $1.99 a month. I've been on a great run since November 1st. And even dating back earlier than that, but up over 38 units since November 1st. We're going to try and keep that run going across all sports. 4-1-1 day for me overall yesterday. As far as a best bet, I'm going to go back to the Ottawa-Detroit game. I did say during that game I would take the Sens -1.5 plus 145, but that's not going to be the best bet on the show. This is actually one of my 3 client plays, and I am taking Ottawa in regulation, -105 in this one. Like I said, their scoring seems to have returned. They're looking a little bit better of late. 4-game homestand in which they can build some momentum and try and get back into that playoff picture. And until the goaltending issues are fixed with Detroit, I just can't put any trust in Ville Husso or their emergency backup goalie. And either one could feature tonight because Husso is not confirmed as of yet. So give me Ottawa -105 in regulation as my show best bet. Bri, what do you have up at WagerTalk? And give us a free play.
Was I in a different show? I don't.
He pulled the
understand.
prez on you, Brian. He wasn't listening. He pulled the
You know,
prez.
I could have done the show with Prez. I've already
I
talked
know.
about it. I think
Well,
since
you
you didn't
haven't talked
listen to
about what
me,
you have up at WagerTalk. That's what we need to know.
well, that's what
I
I
know you
talked
just
about earlier.
He did.
And just so everybody else knows, why don't you just go buy my package today, and that way you could figure it out.
Yes, I love it.
Um,
Spend $199 and get the rest of 2024 from Brian Leonard, because number one, he's been super solid with football and college football, and of course we know how he does in NHL. Absolutely has been kicking ass since coming to Wager Talk. I believe number one at Wager Talk in NHL. So you can't go wrong with the 199. And if you do, I'm going to Vegas in December, and Brian will buy me a couple of beers for promoting him like this, Andrew.
Brian, I'm not sure if you know this, but I am a Green Bay Packers fan. So I don't know your play. I hope you're not hurting my feelings tonight with your play, but I'm always cheering for you guys first. I'm always cheering for everybody. So I wish you the best luck tonight with Thursday Night Football, but also that big college football play on Saturday. Guys, we've all been doing pretty well with our select plays. Karn's been red hot with hockey over the last month and a while. Brian, multiple sports right now. And for me, it's been the big plays. I'll be frank, my smaller plays in the NHL have not been meeting my expectations, but I'm on an 8-2, 5% run with my NHL plays, and these big plays mean a lot to me. I'm very selective with these. There's no forcing them. If I see a spot, I jump all over it. And this is a situation today that I'm on for a 5% play, guys. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. So do not miss out on that. But again, if you guys are going to buy the 5% play from me today in the NHL, it's a jam-packed NHL slate. You're probably better off taking that $199 rest of December deal, because I might have a couple more 5% plays. I might have some NFL plays. I have a big NFL one going this weekend. We might have some NBA plays. Get that $199 rest of December, or join me tonight, 5% NHL play, 8-2 run. Really, really looking forward to that play. Now, I didn't mention any props on the show today, so I'm going to make my best bet a prop. Carm talked about Ottawa. I'm going to go with over 2.5 shots on goal. Drake Batherson forward for the Senators. This number is nice, guys. It's plus 105. I love when you can get plus money on a player prop. And I've been looking a lot at road versus home, how players do at home versus how they do on the road. In 6 of his last 7 home games, he's gone over 2.5 shots on goal. The funny thing is, when he goes on the road, he's not putting up nearly the same numbers as far as his shooting numbers are concerned. We got Detroit. We got Ottawa going head-to-head. I'm taking Batherson. Not really too biased, but he is from my hometown, so hopefully he does me good tonight, and we'll get the job done with this player prop. So, guys, a little bit of a different format today on Puck Time. We appreciate you all bearing with us. I know we couldn't actually tune in. You guys couldn't be here in the live chat with us, but let's have ourselves a great day. Let's make some money, and you guys can find all 3 of us at wagertalk.com. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time right here on WagerTalk TV.